Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast still living our best life in the Final Fantasy universe. Welcome to the podcast, I'm David Lloyd, and this episode we're still neck deep in Square Enix masterpieces. This time embarking on a road trip from Insomnia to Alticia, and everywhere in between in the 2016 released Final Fantasy XV. Joining me after his first time behind the wheel of the Regalia, it's Casey Gibson.
Well, I don't know if I'm behind the wheel. I'm probably in the back seat.
Yeah. Hey, it's probably a smooth ride no matter where you're sitting. I mean,
yes.
Gladiolus is back there reading novels and, having a good old time. So
Definitely, yeah. And I do actually really love the car, like the purple and the white. Like, oh, man.
Yeah, when I'm pretty sure there's like lots. I haven't even really gotten into all the purchasing and stuff, but I've seen some crazy mods on online for the Steam version and stuff. So you're in for a world of fun, I think. But yeah, we're now. I guess just to let everyone at home know that. So we are going to be talking about Final Fantasy 15. We are going to keep it to the first few hours. Casey and I are starting playthroughs. This is my second go, and this will be Casey's first. And we're both
newbie
around chapter 3 at this point, so we're not too far in, just a few hours.
Well, I have put in 4 or 5 playthroughs of Pocket Edition, but I don't count those.
Oh man,
too funny, dude.
Yeah. I've turned Pocket Edition on. I think I was given back in Mandabar days. I was given the game to review, and I took about 30 seconds into the game, and I said, "Screw it, nope,
forget." You don't like the chibi?
No, man, it's so awful.
It looks like a DS version.
Yeah, it does. Like I couldn't even tell you what. Like all I saw was like the Chibi 4 pushing the Regalia, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm tapping out.
Honestly, I'm looking at the screenshots, and they're really not that bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am enjoying the visuals as they are now. And like I said, we'll probably get into how amazing it looks on the OLED. But honestly, it's a cute little version.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst part would be playing it on the phone, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like available. Like, I'm pretty sure you get this on the Switch.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was on the Switch that I like. Technically, I own it on the Switch because I got the review copy of it. But yeah, I remember back in 2016. It's funny. Like I was a day one buy of this game when it released on PS4 back in 2016, and and I played it back then. Really enjoyed it. It was, I think it's changed a little bit, which we won't get into this episode. Well, yeah, they've made some improvements to. I know that there was some gameplay issues in the back half of the game that people complained about that I know Square Enix fixed. I think they fixed it like a week after I finished the game, which
go figure.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's the curse of playing a game when it first comes out is that. It's usually like a few weeks after, a month in, where sometimes you get your day one fixes, but usually like there's a big fix a few months after. The same thing happened with Cyberpunk.
That was real bad though.
Yeah, I got Cyberpunk. It was one of the first games I played on PS5. Not the first, but one of the first, I think. I actually ended up. I think I got the PS4 copy. It was such a poop show because
I hear it's unbelievable now.
Oh yeah, well it's funny because it worked fine. Like so, I had pre-ordered the at the time I think you could only pre-order the PS4 copy. So I picked that up from GameStop, and then there was a big mess of like you put the disc in, but then at the time like I guess the game didn't know if it wanted to download the PS5 copy or if it wanted to take the PS4 version off. Or I think what ended up happening was like it uploaded the PS4 copy from the disc, but then it had like this ridiculous like 100 gigabyte download, that ended up it was like 3 days of me downloading because it was back
Oh,
when I had slow
the
internet.
poop
So
internet. Yep.
yeah, it was like 3 days of my PS4, PS5 downloading before I could even play the game. So technically I bought it day one, but didn't play it till day four.
Ugh, you poor son of yeah.
Yeah, and
The
then
dreaded wait.
and then I guess at least I got to play the game because of the people who bought it on PS4 and tried to play it on a PS4. I don't even think they got to play. Like I think it just pooped out within like 30 seconds of starting up, and so I got to play it. It was fine, but yeah, I know they've done a ton of work on it since then.
That's
So
actually on my list of games I'm interested in playing. It's funny. I hear it's amazing on Steam Deck, but that's probably one I would do on PS5 just because give me all the beefy power to make that thing look as good as it possibly can.
yeah, I think they made a big deal about like tweaking it so it specifically would play on Steam Deck.
Oh yeah, I'm almost positive it's
Yeah.
got it verified on on Steam.
Yeah, but that's
But
definitely a game you want to play on the big screen. I think
yeah, yeah, for sure.
you need to
Like
see that Keanu in full 4K.
taking all the sexiness.
Yeah, Johnny. I can't remember his name. Johnny Rock Band or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It's a hilarious name. But yeah. So I guess that was a little. I lost my train of thought on the.
Yeah,
Oh, and, yeah. I guess I started talking about the launch day stuff. So anyway, yeah, when I got it back in 2016, I remember the Switch came out like the year 2017, I believe it was, and then Final Fantasy 15 had been out for a bit, and there was talk about. I remember when we used to think that the Switch could do all these wonderful things, and
the
then
good old days.
yeah, it came crashing down pretty quick when we realized it was running off a 2010 phone architecture. But
It's
yeah,
actually just three Wii's taped together.
yeah, that's right. But Square Enix wanted that sweet Switch money, so they cobbled together something to get on the Switch, and
God bless him.
yeah, and I have all respect to Square Enix for getting that cash grab. I don't know what kind of quality of game people were left with, and I hope anyone who complains about Final Fantasy 15. I hope you're not doing so based on the Pocket Edition because that is not the same game.
Yeah, not representative of the final product.
Yeah. But no, that was for you, Casey. I know, like we've talked I think in the last episode or the episode before, I guess the 2 episodes now, that you had picked up a Steam Deck and you have a sweet OLED screen, and you were looking for, you and I are still on that Final Fantasy,
The rebirth high.
yeah, the rebirth high and the depression low of we can't get enough. It's just in our blood now.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
you
it
wanted something that
changes
looked
a
nice.
man.
That's right. And yeah, you needed a nice, beautiful looking Final Fantasy for your Steam Deck, and this is where we are.
Yeah, rebirth. That's what rebirth does to a man. You're so depressed. It's like, well, I guess I just got to get a Steam Deck.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the only thing that'll help me. No, well, like
Retail therapy.
yeah, yeah, and then the Steam store doesn't help at all with that, or does a lot, I guess, depending on what side of the coin you're looking at. But yeah, I've sort of been bouncing around. But yeah, we're definitely, like I said, some of the most fun is when we end up playing a game, when we're both hyped for a game comes out around the same time, we end up, sort of playing it and talking about it the whole way through. So we've been sort of keeping that going. And honestly, like there's so many Final Fantasies that I had been wanting to go back and some revisit and some just for the first time, right? Like I didn't play 15. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I had my PS4. I might have sold it before this came out, but for whatever reason, I was not involved, like, or not looking forward to it or whatever. So, but it's always sort of been like, now that I've gone back and I've been getting more into Final Fantasies and really sort of wanting to go through, I mean, ideally one day all 15, right? And get,
yeah.
More, well, maybe not 11, but you know what I mean? So yeah, we figured, or at least I figured, I was like, yeah, might as well get the good looking one in terms of trying to rock out on the OLED, and it definitely looks awesome. Runs nice and smooth. I guess, like I said, my only complaint, I guess, with the Steam Deck in general, and I think it's just because it's a smaller screen and you're playing, like computer games, or probably, not all of them, I guess are meant to be played, but you're going to say the text ends up being a
Oh,
little tiny
yeah.
sometimes, but honestly, it's not something that it's so bad. But yeah, that's sort of really, I guess, sort of been a broad stroke complaint, or like the only, quote unquote complaint I've had with the Steam Deck so far.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So I loaded it on my Steam Deck and it started playing good, but I'm actually playing Persona 3 Reloaded via Game Pass on my Steam Deck, and I've kind of had that like, oh, I like having one game on one system going at any given time. So
This
I
is
ended
my
up,
Persona vehicle for the next month and a half.
yeah, that's right. So I'm like 50 hours deep in that now. So I was like, no, I got to throw something on my PS5. Can't be burning out my Steam Deck on all these games. So I loaded it up to see. I was curious, like how it looks too, because I don't know if there's necessarily like there's no PS5 upgrade per se. Like there's no.
Yeah,
I know when
official patch.
when Remake came out, like it was made for for PS4. Like that was the original
Yeah,
Final
and then
Fantasy 7.
integrate.
Yeah, and then when Integrate came out, then there was like a true PS5 upgrade. So
Mhm.
everything like is now in like this beautiful 4K and silky smooth 60 FPS and stuff like that. So they have not given Final Fantasy 15 that that treatment. I don't believe they will, but it's still. I mean, it still looks really good for a PS4 game. So it still looks fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
no,
still a beefy file size too.
oh yeah, I think I think it was like 90 or 89 gigs.
Yeah.
I was surprised actually how quick it downloaded, but yeah, I really enjoyed driving through like just the different vistas, the different areas, right? And it definitely is a beautiful world. It I guess in terms of the actual gameplay, right? So far, I think it's sort of weird because I like in terms of gameplay, like I don't like I'm enjoying it, but I don't love it.
Mhm.
But so far, like the characters, I like our squad, right? The four squad members. I like Noctis, Gladiotus, Promptu, and ooh, God, I know his name. I'm forgetting it.
Ignis.
Ignis, that's it. I knew it was with an I. I was like, it's not Ingrid, but and Ignis. So those four characters I like, and I've liked some of the other side characters, where there'll probably be more focal characters as we progress. But yeah, it's like weird, right? So a lot of it is with the car, right? And I remember that was sort of when it came out originally, and not really playing it obviously, or really like looking too much into it. It's just like, this is weird, like four dudes just driving around in a car,
Yeah.
um and it is weird because it's like it like automatically drives you, right? And then I feel like even when you go into manual, it's like you got to stick to the roads, and like, which is fine. I don't know. It's weird. Like I wish I could just sort of like be like the buggy from Final Fantasy Rebirth, 7 Rebirth,
Oh
where you
yeah.
could just literally go anywhere,
Steamroll anything.
Yeah, yeah, or maybe maybe pull it back a little bit from that,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then even the combat is sort of strange. Like I don't hate it, I definitely don't hate it, but and I think I'm still getting used to it. I'm at like I think 4.5 hours into the game, halfway through chapter 3, and I've been trying to do some side quests here and there. So yeah, the combat, right? It's sort of like if you hold the one button down, you always sort of have like a dodge activated. And then you could sort of zip around the room, and you could switch up your weapons really easily. I do like that, and how you could sort of set the magic onto your I guess your D-pad, right, is where it sets. So you could sort of switch between the weapons easy enough. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it might just be coming right after Rebirth is tough,
Yeah, I just find that the rebirth combat is just like perfectly.
Perfection.
Yeah, like the chemistry is just perfect. Like it all feels like it feels right. Like there's an order to it. Like you can you're doing your attacks, and then you can. I love like the bullet time when you want to switch to like a big move, and you can switch between characters, and it just feels like this kind of perfect ballet. And but then you come and you play Final Fantasy 15 and it just feels like chaos. Like that's how the battles feel to me, is like just pure chaos, because like you're fighting as Noctis, and yeah, like you said, there's when you got like you kind of standard attack, and you got like a dodge or like a roll, and I guess like the whole point is to kind of get, but I guess what they're trying to force you to do is like it, trying to get behind an enemy, and then you can get them a slash, and then the party members, like you kind of work in the
Follow
party
up.
members into the combat as you go, like yeah, with combos and stuff. So you're building up a meter, and then as the meter builds up, then you have the choice of
Which
having one of the three party characters do a move. So like Gladiolus has this like huge, he's got like the beefy sword or whatever, so he does this big slash that kind of swipes at everyone on the screen.
yeah,
And
he's
then
definitely the big beefcake.
yeah, he's the tank. So then and then you get to do, like, if you time it, there's a bit of a time at the end where it's like if you hit the, like for me it's the circle. I can't remember what it is. I guess it would be A on the Steam Deck, where you kind of hit the button at the right time, and then Noctis kind of flies back in for kind of like this little cheap shot at the end.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
always mess it up because I'm still getting used to where, like, what buttons what,
Yeah.
and I'm like, duh, and then I miss the prompt.
Yeah. And then but at the same time, you're also like using this kind of like teleportation magic where you'll slash at, like you'll teleport
Throw your
towards someone and
sword.
do a slash, or you'll teleport kind of like out of the battle for a second to kind of regroup, and kind of there's like places in the environment where you could teleport out of reach of an enemy, and then you'll just kind of sit there for a second and regain your health and magic, and then you kind of go back in. But it's strange, because then the fights all feel kind of different too, because like if you're fighting monsters in the sand or in the forest or whatever, it feels a bit different than like when you go up against, say, like the Imperial soldiers or whatever, because you'll have, usually the monsters are kind of more melee based, and then you can get into a fight with soldiers where they've got like snipers,
Oh, yep,
way
and you gotta
back.
go take care of those guys.
Yeah, so you're kind of like trying to take out the snipers, but then they'll have like a tank character, and then they'll have like just kind of their melee characters. So I like how it does feel different, but they all just feel like chaos to me. And it's funny because every battle ends with kind of a ranking of how you did or whatever, and it'll be like, I can't even remember what it is. I know
Finesse.
there's like something finesse and offense, and speed. That's it. Like
Speed, yeah, speed,
speed,
offense,
finesse.
and finesse.
Yes, and I always A plus speed and offense, and I always like C or D finesse.
Okay, yeah. So you and me fight similarly, yeah.
Yeah,
Because and then every once in a blue moon you'll get a B on finesse, and you're like, all right, like I'm
yeah,
pretty good at this game
yeah.
actually.
I must hit the buttons in the right order this time, I guess.
And it's funny because I think like chaotic does sort of sum it up pretty well. I was thinking I'm just sort of still getting used to it, so maybe that's just sort of how it is. And I'm sure I'll get a little bit more of a grasp that sort of smooths things out. But yeah, no, I'm similarly with my finesse is definitely usually low, but the offensive numbers are pretty high, so so that's always a good thing. But I wonder if the finesse is just, I guess, maybe avoiding enemies, like dodging and not taking damage.
Yeah, I think, and I think part of that is like you said, there's the where you're dodge. There's like a dodge and parry. So I think if you dodge and then use the parry, I think that's when the finesse goes up. Because
Yep.
usually I'm not really thinking about, like, I'm just going all out offense, and if I see someone coming at me, then I'll hit the dodge button. But
Yeah,
I'm
you could like
typically
hold
not too
down that
worried.
that dodge button in perpetuity, right? And dodge
Yeah,
like every attack essentially. I mean, I'm sure not every attack, but most attacks.
yeah, I have to try that because I've never tried like holding it down.
But you can't really move, you know what I mean? Or
Oh yeah,
like I don't or you move really slowly, I forget. But yeah, it's just yeah, in these games you got to go all offense. And then
yeah,
of course, maybe when you get to a boss, it's like, okay, I actually have to sort of, you know, think of this out, like think of a strategy more than just balls to the wall.
yeah.
But
And I
yeah.
have to figure out. It was funny when we did. There's only been like one boss, I think, and that was at the base where that guy is in like the. It's it's almost like Magitech armor, like the big tanky looking
Oh, yep.
robot.
That's what I thought exactly. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. Mhm.
So he dropped down, and then that was the first time I started using magic, and so I started using lightning magic. But I'm not 100% sure if I was doing damage to my own guys as well. So I have to look into
I think
like,
you do because I
yeah,
feel like unle- unless if I'm confusing this with another game I'm playing, but I swear I read it was an item or some sort of option that was like reduces friendly fire.
yeah, I'm sure there's friendly fire because I was fighting that robot and I was hitting it with the lightning because I had given it to Noctis. And I'm like, are my guys electrocuted? Like, what the hell?
Like Marv from Home Alone.
Yeah, like they were taking damage, and I'm like, so I did it a couple times, and then I was like, I swear these guys are getting damaged, so I'll just
They're like,
stop.
please, Noctis, for the love of
Yeah,
God, stop. Oh,
yeah,
let me just zap him a little bit more to make sure.
yeah. But yeah, so then, and that was one of the royal guards was there, and the core is like a brick hit house, so I just kept using him for the party attack or whatever. But yeah, that boss, I was just full on like going bananas, and
I
then
think I think you're supposed now, did you hit him with like 3 electrics and he died?
it wasn't that
Oh,
quick.
wait. That's the is let me just make sure I'm thinking of the same fight. Is that the one with the barrels all around? Like the explosive barrels sort of like lined around where you fight him? Or
Oh,
am I
there might have been because he's like this big robot, and you can either like there was different spots that you could attack. So
Yeah,
yeah,
hit
like you could
different
attack
legs,
his
right?
legs or his backpack or the cockpit or whatever.
Okay, what I think like what I did was that I used fire and like I would attack his legs when he was by the barrel and then that would explode and do a huge amount of damage. And I'm pretty sure it took like 3 shots to kill him if you hit all 3 barrels when he's right next to it.
No, that would make sense. I think I did that in the first. I think it probably even like tells you you're
James, I
supposed.
can't believe they've got a 45-minute fight this early on in the game.
I remember though, Noctis. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just getting beat up, and I just kept just use. I had not used any potions up until that point, and I'm like, I'll just use a couple potions here. I'm not.
Oh, I suck those potions down
Yeah,
like I'm at the thirsty mage, man.
yeah. Like, there's no. I'm not backing off. I'm not waiting to see what. Like, there's probably some kind of pattern I was supposed to be following, and I'm like, nope. I'm just slashing until like my life depended on it.
And then right, I guess we haven't talked too much about the different weapons, but for Noctis, right, he's obviously, or I guess maybe not so obvious, because I guess we haven't really talked too much about the story. Is that he is royalty, and I guess right early on, he's actually being set to marry someone from another kingdom. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
Luna
I can.
Frey.
Luna, yeah, Lady Luna Freya.
Okay,
I
yeah,
can do a quick synopsis
yeah,
on the
yeah.
story
You're
so
probably better
far.
at this.
So yeah, so the world is set in I think it's Eos. Eos is the kind of the world that it's bit set up as, and originally there was like I think it's 4 kind of regions or whatever. There's the Empire, which is Niflheim. There's Tenebrea, which is where Lady Luna Freya was from. Um, I'm blanking on the third one, but the fourth one is Insomnia, which is where Noctis or where the four the heroes are from, I guess.
Men in Black are from.
Yeah, so the whole thing is that Niflheim, the Empire, I guess, they have the technological advantage over the world. So they have like the Magitech armor, and they have these big airships and all this stuff. And then they actually they also weaponize like daemons and stuff. So they're just like the evil empire trying to take over everybody. At the beginning, they like 10 years in the past of when you're actually playing, Noctis, I guess, was in some kind of like near death experience or something, and so the I think it's Regis takes him to Tenebrea because they're known. It's kind of like the uh foresty nature thing where they're taking him there to heal or whatever, and then the Empire attacks them, and then that's kind of where they end up taking over Tenebrea while they're there, and but Noctis and Regis end up escaping back to Insomnia, The Empire pretty much takes over the entire world except for the main city. And the only reason they haven't taken that over at the beginning of the game is because it's protected by a crystal. So like the quote unquote Final Fantasy crystal of this game is located at the heart of Insomnia, and yeah, the king, who's aging at this point and is kind of like losing his power. The crystal has been protecting the city for the longest time, and at the beginning of the game, the whole all the events are kind of kicked off by now it's 10 years later, and Noctis is an adult, and the Empire has everything except the main city, and they're trying to present themselves as like, oh, it's clear that we can't take you over, so maybe we should just declare peace and get it over with or whatever. And so they want Noctis. So when they took over Tenebrae, the ruler, like the royalty there, Lady Lunafreya, is like they kept her alive, and they want Noctis and her to get married as like a show of peace, like between the two countries, or whatever you want to call them. And so that's where the game begins, is like Noctis is leaving the Insomnia with his three buddies, and he's supposed to be heading off to Alticia, which is a city. I think it's in that third region that I couldn't remember. And he's supposed to meet Lady Lunafreya there to get married. So he leaves, and he's supposed to be on his way to there's like a coastal city where he's going to pick up a boat to get to Alticia. And anyway, so you leave, and then you end up getting there, and then you're waiting for a boat to take you to Alticia. And then while you're waiting, the king is meeting with the Empire officials in Insomnia, and they kind of backstab him, and they end up killing the king, and they steal the crystal, and now the city no longer has its protection, and they take over Insomnia. So basically, at this point, the Empire has everything. And for anyone, I know that the like Final Fantasy 15, it kind of infamously had this movie that went with it, and what it is, everyone was, when I heard of it, people were trying to say, oh, you don't know what's happening unless you watch the movie, and it's like, well, that's not exactly true. The movie is basically the telling of the events that are happening in Insomnia while Noctis is on his way to the coastal city. So I guess it's kind of the beginning of the game, but it's not really. Like,
yeah.
The summary that you get, that the king is like, they actually show some scenes from the movie in the game.
I was gonna say, the visuals are really cool.
Yeah, and so those are from the movie. So that it's kind of like a few minute summary of the movie. So
this game's not just a big elaborate ruse to go watch the movie.
Yeah, which is hard to find. Will has generously offered to stream it from his Discord. We have to figure out a time for that. But so anyway, while he's waiting for this boat to go to Alticia, they find out that the Empire has invaded Insomnia. They've taken it over. And so, Noctis goes back, and he sees that the city is, the boats are no longer running, so he can't get to Alticia anyway. So Noctis goes back to the city to see for himself if it's really gone, which it is. Like, it's there, but it's like under rule now of the Empire, and they're actually saying, so the king actually did die, but Niflheim is also broadcasting that Noctis and Lunafreya are both dead, even though they know they're not. I guess it's like propaganda or whatever to say, like, all the royalty is dead. Toast. Like, we're in charge now or whatever. So at this point in the game, the Empire is out looking for Noctis, and were like, so the Kingsguard that there's some Kingsguard soldiers that made it out of Insomnia, and now they're kind of beginning this like underground rebellion or whatever. So the big ending of chapter 2 that we were just talking about with the Magitech armor was, one of the Kingsguard was saying like, oh, well, there's this kind of checkpoint fort that Niflheim is taking over. We can't let them take the fort, or we'll lose too much. Like, it's an important location in the world. we'll lose access to cities if we lose this fort. So Noctis and the boys, I guess, set up this
Get it.
this strategy to kind of sneak into this fort and take out the soldiers. And the last, like the boss of that, is, I guess, this Magitech. It's very reminiscent of like Final Fantasy VI Magitech armor.
Yeah, that was definitely my initial thought as well.
Yeah. So the chapter 2 ends with the destruction of this tank, and then it kind of opens up more of the map to us now. So we're in chapter 3, and I guess basically at this point the goal now is that Noctis is traveling the world to find the tombs of the old kings. There's 13 of them, and he's trying to find these tombs because he's borrowing the power of these long dead kings. And when he goes to the tomb, he's granted the weapon that king used during his reign, and it's basically empowering Noctis and hopefully giving him the edge he needs to take back his kingdom.
Win, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've gotten 2 of these weapons, and actually where I am in chapter 3 is to go to the waterfall, or behind the waterfall is apparently another tomb. So I've got like I guess it's some sort of sword, and then like a big sort of 2-handed axe mace thing. I forget exactly what it is, but but what's interesting about them is, right, they're super strong, lots of damage, but they actually hurt you. You lose health, so it's sort of nice, like I said, where you could sort of switch in between your weapons on the fly, right? Like you could sort of bust those out. Like if you know you're going to get like a big fat back attack in before they start attacking you or something, right? You could sort of switch, hit with the heavy duty weapon, and then double back. So, you can keep attacking with it, I guess, right? Risk reward, and depending on how many potions and stuff you have. But it's better used in moderation, obviously.
Yeah, so one of the combat features, like you're saying earlier, Casey, is that you have the D-pad and you can set 4 weapons. So you can either set weapons or you can set magic. At the beginning of the game, by default, like the 3 that are set is that there's a lance, a sword, and then a broadsword. I've pretty much mostly played with just the regular sword because I'm more of like I like the speed, because like the lance and the broadsword are slower. So I just find myself, it's just like it's too slow for me. Like I just want to fight with the sword, and then I put the magic in the force position. So far now I know it. I like remembering my first playthrough. I remember like and this is one of the things I like about it, is that the combat does evolve throughout the game. So you do change your style as you go. But so far earlier in the game, I've pretty much just stuck to like the little sword and the magic. And that's like basically where I've kind of hit the sweet spot so far, is just like that pure speed.
It actually took me a minute to even figure out you could put magic on like the, or I guess just even how to use it in general. So it's like, oh, dang. But yeah, no, I think that works well, and like I said, I do like how, like you said, how you sort of get your gauge up, and then you can sort of use other abilities from the guys. But yeah, I wonder if I'm going to be able to, sort of get my head around being, I guess, more efficient, especially, if I'm, with the finesse. I'm sure if you like utilize that really well, it probably, becomes a lot more fluid, because you're, you know what I mean? You're dodging things instead of sort of getting knocked down, obviously, is going to keep things sort of the movement going.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely is chaotic. I think you definitely hit the nail on the head with that. But yeah, like I said, the game has so far, and like I said, only probably about 4.5 hours in. It has put a lot out there that I do like, and then some that I'm not in love with, but I am definitely like interested in seeing it through. And like I said, I definitely do like the character so far. I think that's been a real strong suit for me.
Yeah, and there's just so much to the game too, and it's easy to forget going back into it now, because there is like they have like an ascension menu where as you defeat enemies, you're given AP, and then you can then spend that AP on basically buffing up all your characters, but the Ascension menu is so beefy. Like there's like 10 different categories. Like there's like party attacks, there's like I can't, like there's like a whole one for magic, and then there's one for party attacks, and there's like one for armor, and there's one for items. Like
Yeah, they really let you get in the weeds.
oh man, like it's so dense. Like and there's like one for hunts, and there's just so many in there. And then the amount of, like, if you're a side quest person, like the amount of side quests in this game is pretty crazy too, because like each it's not even each city. Like you can just go to like a pit stop, and then there'll be like a restaurant there, and you'll talk to like the chef or whatever, the person running the shop, and then they'll give you all these locations of like where you can pick up like food items, or you can pick up hunts, and then there's like a hunt quest list. Like it's just
It sort of
so
had
beefy.
that rebirth, right? When you sort of find one thing and then it sort of opens up some more nodes to go check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that sort of vibe from there.
Yeah. How you digging the it's got this really weird, I don't even know if it's like a cyberpunk thing, but it's kind of like this like medieval futuristic hybrid, where you have this like very, I don't know, like medieval story, and they're attacking with swords, and, but
Yeah.
then Prompto's using guns, and then Noctis is answering a cell phone, and
You're
it's
driving
like
around in this sweet ride.
yeah, and he's like swiping like it's like clearly an iPhone he's using, or that's type of
Yeah.
smartphone.
Yeah, it's
It's
weird.
strange.
And you know what it is? It's just, I guess, historically, right? Like I mean, now not so much, but I remember back in the day, right? Even with like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 10, where I was just like, yeah, like Final Fantasy it's medieval high fantasy, you know what I mean? And then you stop to think about it, and you're like, not really. Like there's always like crazy guns and freaking, like you said, the Magitech armor in 6. Obviously 7, there's all sorts of the handguns and this, that, and the other thing. So like you almost, and as we've continued, obviously many Final Fantasy games, you just sort of, you almost forget that they do so seamlessly, at least to me. And like I said, it might just be a virtue of having played a bunch of Final Fantasy games, but like they do meld those like different aesthetics, or different like time periods, or however you want to sort of consider it, pretty flawlessly. I feel like almost, I mean, even right, like Final Fantasy 7, like all the Shinra guys have guns, and Cloud's out there with just the Buster Sword kicking butts. But
Yeah. Well, like Rufus is flying around in helicopters, and they're using materia to power up all the technology in the capital, and like like Midgar is really like that kind of futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like it. I mean, it is just so, like I said, I don't know. I just would love to have been in the meetings where like, all right, so we're gonna have the 4 guys, and they're just gonna drive around in this car together, and
Yeah.
it's like, let's freaking do it. It's still weird to me. I won't lie, but I'm digging it. Like I said, I can get behind it.
Yeah. Well, I imagine those meetings were a mess, because like when they originally started the game, it was supposed to be a Final Fantasy 13 spinoff, and then and it was like 10 years between 13 and 15. I think it was almost 10 years. And yeah, it just evolved so much, like it, because then eventually it went from the 13 spinoff, and they're like, just screw it, we're going to do it. It's going to be 15 now. And they, patched it up. It was basically like, put together with duct tape at that point, I think. And that's why they were making so many of those changes. Like, and having, I guess, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but you really, in the back half, kind of feel the urgency in getting the game finished.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting game in the lineup or whatever. It's funny, I guess, like, because we just recently finished Final Fantasy 16, and that's really like, I guess like 9 and 16 might be the closest like medievally type games. Like even 16 had a few kind of some futuristic stuff to it. Like clearly it was more of a medieval based game, but it still had some futuristic things like just kind of nestled in here and there. But
Yeah, I feel like 9 was definitely that we need to return to home, right?
yeah,
Like, because obviously, especially I think 8, right, had the mixed sort of reception, I guess you would say.
yeah,
But yeah, man, I really hope they remake 9. I hope that is all true.
yeah. That whole rumor being true, it seems like it could be.
It feels like it.
That Nvidia leak's been pretty solid so far.
It would look really good. It would look really good. Oh, and Vivi, bring back Vivi. Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, it's and then yeah, 16. I feel like 16 was almost felt like more like Game of Thronesy to me too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was maybe just a mature like that first. I remember that first trailer where like the blood splatters across his face and stuff, you know. But yeah, no, I mean that's what I love about Final Fantasy, though. You know, it's like the games could be so like drastically different, but you know there'll be a Cid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There'll be some Phoenix Downs and this, that, and the other thing that sort of keep the world interconnected, or at least tangentially. You know.
Yeah, all the Eidolons or the GFs or the Espers or whatever you want to call them, they're all there. That like to me, that's kind of like that. The Final Fantasy is like you know, you have it's you know medieval-ish or whatever in the way that you fight. It'll have like you said, the Cid in every game. Yeah, and it'll have like your Guardian
Sydney,
forces,
right? Or, is that her from the first gas station?
Yeah, well,
Cindy?
Cid. Yeah, Cindy's the granddaughter of Cid. He's the
Holy
Cid.
Cucamonga.
Yeah, but her accent just it's funny because it's like when she starts talking in that kind of southern accent, I'm like, oh right, like oh it's just a little too thick, but that's okay.
What, you don't like people from the South?
No, people from the south are all right, but it's just it's more. You know, you see the characters like it's funny because like the four guys like they're push. So the game starts off with like four guys pushing this car down the road, right? They all look like they're from a K-pop boy band.
Yep.
They roll into a station. It's supposed to be like set in the medieval times, and then a Southern American walks out and starts talking to them about their like it's just such this weird combination of things. Like, and then Cid comes out, but he doesn't have the accent, so it's like. You know, where did she get it? Like where, you know,
she's culturally appropriating or whatever.
I don't know. Well, and it's again, we're only a few hours in, but I don't remember anyone else in this game speaking with that accent. So it really is like, where did you get that accent?
Like, who is that weird girl that works down at the gas station or the garage?
Yeah, don't go down to Hammerhead. There's a bunch of weirdos down there.
You can't trust Cindy.
Yeah,
or Cindy, whatever the heck her name is.
Yeah, I also find it funny too. Like, so you know, you Insomnia is taken over by the Empire or whatever, and Hammerhead is like a stone's throw away from the gates, and you're just like, you know, let's set up shop here.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, they'll never find us right under their nose.
That's right. The Empire's like, I want Noctis found, and like he's hiding. We don't know where he is.
We'll never find him.
He's definitely not 15 feet from the front door.
Don't look for the guy in all black.
Yeah. He's too well camouflaged.
Yeah, him and his four buddies. You'll never see him.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Like I do like the designs and like, but I am surprised they like just went all super dark clothes because it just makes them look like they got like trench coats, like oh they're like a little. I mean like little gang of guys over there. Yeah. What are those four doing? You know.
You know what you need then is you need the Power Rangers costume DLC.
That's where I need to fork some more money over, huh?
You need to get the Power Ranger skin. It's hilarious.
I'll have to check it. I'll have to check into
if
that.
If you thought four dudes wearing all black leather was hilarious, just wait till they're wearing Power Ranger suits.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think we'll be doing a chapter by chapter breakdown like we were with Rebirth.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we might revisit Final Fantasy 15. Maybe at the end, we'll do maybe a little spoiler cast.
I think that'd be a good idea. I like sort of having our like a little pre, a little post thoughts on it. Obviously, we were loving Rebirth so much, and honestly, it really just like the breakdown of that game worked really well with breaking the episodes up like that. So yeah, like I said, I mean, I did pick up Final Fantasy X. What else did I get?
Did you buy 8?
I've got 13. I did buy.
I thought you picked up 8, or I think you've picked up 8 before. I think you might have it on Switch or
so
something.
I've got 4, 8, 13, 15, 10, and 10-2 on Steam right now.
Okay.
So we're doing 15. We'd have to, 8 and 13 around the docket for some point, and I guess not so much 10 in terms of both of us because you recently went through that game. So
yeah, which I'm gonna do that Albed Time episode on. I promise, everyone, I'll get that recorded soon.
One of these days.
The summer is just nuts.
Are you going? I don't think you never played SteamWorld Heist, right? The first one.
No, I did.
You did? Okay. Do you plan on picking up the second one?
Maybe not right away, but maybe, I don't know. Like, I really did, like, of all the SteamWorld games, Heist was my favorite because I love the combat of Heist. Like, it's I like the tacticalness to it.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so. I'm playing Heist 2. When's this episode going out?
This episode is going out on. We're recording on the 5th. It'll go to the Patreon on. Well, it'll go to the Patreon right away.
Well, whatever. I don't care.
And then it's like the 9th, I think, was
okay. The game comes out on the 8th, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, you're okay then.
Yeah. I didn't. I just haven't looked at the embargo info. But essentially, it's freaking really good. I like it a lot. Like I said, I loved Heist, the first Heist. This one, like I said, it's got that great tactical stuff. They have. I don't think it was in the original one. Classes, right? It's been a long time since I played it.
Yeah.
Essentially, you can you unlock abilities, and like your main, like so. Say your character is a brawler, right? They unlock like all the brawler abilities as you level up, but then you could change their class by giving them a different gun. So say you give them a sniper, then I believe they start unlocking the sniper abilities.
Oh yeah.
And then, but like you can only you get cogs, and you can only buy certain ones of them. I haven't messed too much with it, but it seems like you could really customize your bots, and like you could really get fine tune things. And there's probably, I'm sure there'll probably be people who really if you use this character, get level up this as their alt weapons to unlock these abilities, you become like a powerhouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of different classes, and yeah, I love the combat so much, the visuals too. And then it's been a while since I played the first one, but I don't think there was like an overworld map in terms you actually are on a ship, and you move around on the overworld map, and you upgrade your ship, and you can attack.
I think it was like a path, like it was almost like wasn't it like original, like kind of like Mario, where there's like a level and then there's like a path or something, wasn't it?
Okay, that's what, honestly, like I said, it's been a long time since I played it, but if that's the case, this feels more like think Donkey Kong Country 3 when you're moving around on a map like that.
Okay.
But you can upgrade your ship because you do see enemies out there, and enemy ships and stuff. But yeah, so far I think I've played a couple hours at this point. I don't know exactly how much. But man, I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I would recommend it, especially if you like the first one. Like, I feel it's like a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'm not sure how much it is, but I definitely...
I think it's 30 bones.
Yeah,
so it is a premium price for like an indie game.
Yeah.
But man, if absolute worst, you should definitely throw it on your watch list, and I'm sure it'll be on sale at some point.
Oh yeah, that was my kind of thinking, was I might just wait for the sale, but yeah, Thunderful Games, like they're they I don't know if I guess
Yeah,
they haven't been released in a ton. I remember they went with like when they merged. I can't remember if they were Thunderful and then bought Image Inform or how the
they were
merger worked
Image
there.
Informed to start, and then Thunderful, I think, was like a collective of them and someone else or something.
Yeah, and
Uh,
they had like a lot of games come out at one time, and then they were a bit quiet for a bit, and then they've got some
Started
more
it, yeah.
SteamWorld games coming out now. So
Yeah, I looked up a video. You were right. So yeah, it was very much like a line in between levels you would pick.
yeah,
But yeah, so this you get to move around and stuff, which is cool. But yeah, SteamWorld High, and it looks so good on the OLED.
oh
Ooh-hoo-hoo-wee.
yeah,
And she runs nice as well. So
oh, cool. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about that some
yeah,
more
we
as
could
we get there.
probably do a full ep, or if we have like a roundup episode, that it could be a good candidate as well.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to check with Paige and Jordan on that one. I feel like Jordan is a Thunderful fan. I feel like he played the SteamWorld stuff, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
I like I said to anyone, I think everyone should play SteamWorld Heist. It is so good. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
cool. Yeah, I guess that'll probably be it for this episode. Yeah, so we, like I said, with that. Whoa, what I will say is that if you're on the Discord and you're either playing, you want to play Final Fantasy 15, or you want to talk about it, Casey and I are kind of talking through our playthrough in one of the channels. So we have a Final Fantasy 15 playthrough channel under the Square Enix. I don't know what they call them in Discord, but there's a
Tabs.
tab. Yeah, so there's a Square Enix tab, and there's a Final Fantasy 15 playthrough there, and we're posting some screenshots and having some fun as we go. And so yeah, if you want to tag along with us there, feel free to join the Discord. The easiest way to get there is, if you're not already in there, is to go to thethirstymage.com, and there's a Discord button on the main page. So that'll bring you into our channel. Love to have you. It's a amazing community of people. Very positive group. We always have fun chatting there, and yeah, I guess the as we go along, like I said, we'll probably do a final episode on that, and yeah, with Casey's new Steam Deck and our Final Fantasy craze,
Our
not
undying
end.
love for all things Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, so I'm sure there'll be some more talk of that as time goes on.
Square was even they were like, "Hey Casey, the pixel remasters are off 20%. Come on, dude."
And you didn't get them.
Not yet. Honestly, it's because like there's just so many
So
other
many.
games. I
Yeah.
was like, and like you said, we both just picked up Half-Life Alex.
Yeah.
With the PSVR 2 PC cable coming out soon. That's
Yeah.
definitely going to be one I got to check out. So there's just no lack of games. And then plus, right? I know you. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I know, but I figure you're probably not going to be playing the new Zelda game next month,
No.
which I'm going to be doing. Oh God, there's just too many games.
I know, eh?
Fine.
Well, and those
But I love
pixel,
it.
like, there's always like a fall sale and then a Christmas sale and a Boxing Day sale. Like,
Oh yeah. I figured it would go on sale again.
yeah.
And honestly, if it doesn't, and I'm absolutely like dying where to play one of these games, I'll pay the extra $2.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know what? If it weren't for getting a deck recently and stuff, like I almost was tempted to buy a Final Fantasy trading card game, like the pre-order of the new set that comes with like 9 boosters and a few other things.
Oh, yeah, I seen that. I was thinking about getting that too.
It was like $45, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that could be sick. But then I was like, oh, there's just like right now I've bought like I'm
Bought too
bleeding
much.
money. He's hemorrhaging.
Yeah, that's what Square Enix does to you. They get you in their black hole, and then the money just gets sucked dry.
Yeah, look, there it is. Pre order. You could buy one for $45 right now.
Yeah, I saw that at GameStop. They had it's like there's like this it's like pre-launch booster box, and it's like, but it's only like half, because a lot of these booster boxes are like $150.
Yep, yeah, we were definitely looking at the same one. Yeah, because it was like, especially since pretty much right, like and I think that we're gonna do an Abend time with this down the road too.
Yeah.
We've been meaning to. is we've been playing a little bit online, so it's like the cards are amazing to have, but like we haven't needed them aside from it looking
Yeah.
cool and like thumbing through them, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's like yeah, if I didn't buy a deck though, there's no doubt in my mind that and that anniversary pack with Rebirth would be probably sitting on my desk right here.
Yeah.
We're suckers.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Bonafide suckers.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well just what I can't remember what the term is when a company just takes your pay, the money right off your pay.
They garnish our
yeah,
wages.
they might as well just garnish my pay stub at this point.
Yep, yeah. Dang it, they took another whatever. Oh well.
Yeah. Guess I'm eating Kraft dinner again. But yeah, I guess that'll take us to the end of this episode. I want to thank everyone for listening, and yeah, we'll look forward to some good episodes coming up. We got there's always something to play, whether it's the backlog or new Square Enix games coming down the pipe. I know we got Visions of Mana, and
oh god,
I know, eh?
And then Dragon Quest 3. That I'm pumped for, dude. I'm so pumped. And, I sound like a big dumb idiot. Just every like I'm just thinking of more games I want to play. Meanwhile, we've still got so many.
Yeah. Well, that's the curse of the backlog. It always grows. It never goes down.
Yeah. No one in the right mind has ever knocked a backlog down.
No.
You just try and control the growth.
It's like prices worldwide. They always go up. They never go down. But I guess on that note, we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks, everybody.
Adios.